Many view international politics as a modern game of economics and military might. But what if the roots of today's global power struggles lie in ancient biblical prophecy? I believe the world's great rivalries follow a script written thousands of years ago. These ancient texts offer a spiritual blueprint for the geopolitical dramas we see today. Geopolitics, in this view, is prophecy unfolding in real time. Over centuries, international relations became secular, losing touch with these sacred origins. My work seeks to reconnect geopolitics with its prophetic foundation. I call this approach prophesiology, analyzing current events through the lens of biblical prophecy. It's about finding real, specific patterns, how today's headlines echo ancient predictions. One key source is the Jewish prophet Ezekiel, who described a coming conflict between powers from the north and the west. His vision eerily mirrors the Cold War and its aftermath. Ezekiel's prophecies outline a global rivalry, unfolding in phases, involving specific nations. To truly understand today's world, we must listen to these ancient voices. Professor Guy Kibulu-Bakuri, an independent commentator and researcher, views the bilateral agreements on Ukrainian and Congolese minerals with the United States as a modern echo of ancient patterns described in biblical prophecy. He argues that these deals reflect a deeper struggle for control and influence, reminiscent of the prophetic contests over resources and power. In his view, such agreements are not just economic strategies, but fulfillments of age-old predictions about nations vying for dominance over the Earth's wealth, as foretold in the scriptures. The patterns they reveal are not random. They're the hidden script of history. By studying prophecy, we uncover the deeper forces shaping our era. The past and present are more connected than we think. The words of Ezekiel still speak to our world today. Ezekiel's prophecies provide a striking lens for the Cold War. The power from the far north, often seen as Russia, leads a coalition in a prolonged rivalry. The Cold War's East-West divide fits this ancient pattern. Even after the Soviet Union's fall, the rivalry endures. Putin's 2007 Munich speech marked a new phase, reviving old tensions. This isn't just history repeating, it's prophecy in motion. The struggle now centers on strategic resources. Ezekiel mentions lands rich in minerals. Today, nations compete for the same. Control over minerals is power in the 21st century. The US, Russia, and China vie for influence in Africa and the Indo-Pacific. Africa's mineral wealth has made it a new battleground. These contests are about more than economics. They're moves in a prophetic game. The ancient struggle for resources is alive in today's global politics. The battle lines are drawn, just as foretold. Ukraine and the Democratic Republic of Congo are modern flashpoints in this ancient rivalry. The war in Ukraine is more than a regional conflict. It's the latest front in the struggle between Russia and the West. Russia's actions echo Ezekiel's vision of a northern power expanding its reach. Meanwhile, the US is forging mineral deals with Ukraine and the DRC, securing cobalt, lithium, and rare earths. These resources are the new gold and silver of biblical times. The US aims to counter Russia and China by controlling these supply chains. Russia and China, in turn, strengthen their own alliances and resource access. China's deepening ties in Africa mirror this global scramble. Nations are aligning into rival blocs, just as prophecy describes. The mineral wars are the modern face of an ancient contest for power. The stakes are global dominance, and the script is centuries old. The world is dividing along lines drawn long ago. The prophet's words echo in every new alliance and conflict. The prophetic warnings are clear. The scramble for resources is just beginning. As technology advances, demand for rare minerals will soar, fueling new tensions. Today's mineral deals are moves in a high-stakes global chess game. Control over resources now means survival and supremacy. The Bible warns that unchecked rivalry for wealth leads to crisis and judgment. These ancient patterns offer wisdom for our future. Recognizing them helps us prepare for coming challenges. The prophecies urge us to look beyond material gain and consider the consequences. Ignoring these warnings risks repeating history's mistakes. The struggle for minerals may define our era and its outcome. The choice is ours: heed the ancient wisdom or repeat the cycle of conflict. Professor Guy Kibulu-Bakuri is discovering that a Jewish prophet living in the 6th century BC would have predicted the two phases of the Cold War. First, between the United States of America and the Soviet Union, today's Russia, from 1947 to 1991, and second, from the 2000s to the present, marked by renewed antagonism between the United States and Russia. This is symbolized by key historical events: including the Munich Declaration on Collective Security, Vladimir Putin's speech in the presence of former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and Russia's response to U.S. expansion in Eastern Europe, the violation of strategic missile agreements signed since the Cold War, and the current resumption of East-West tensions, are all symbolic. The war in Ukraine, preceded by the 2008 conflict in Georgia, reflects the same nature as the ongoing struggle in Ukraine, fulfilling the prophetic vision of enduring rivalry. Even today, bilateral agreements on Ukrainian and Congolese minerals symbolize the traditional spirit of the Cold War. Although this was predicted by a Jewish prophet with the idea that the major world powers would dispute strategic spaces themselves, already in the Indo-Pacific regions, the Eastern powers are disputing strategic spaces with the Western powers. Once again, the two ideological obediences are clashing in Ukraine. How can control of mining areas held by Russia in Ukraine be reconciled with the Ukraine-USA mining agreement? And in the DRC too, where, for example, a major agreement on Congolese minerals has already been concluded with China, a friend of Russia, North Korea including Iran, which also need such a large quantity of these same minerals, causing a frantic race in the arms race, as also taught by the biblical prophecy, dating from the 8th to the 9th century BC, the current craze of the great powers around raw materials for the exclusive monopoly of exploitation is real. The world must therefore prepare for possible armed crises, suggests Professor Guy Kibulu Bakuri, who explores the subject in his next book and documentary on the biblical genesis of the Russo-Ukrainian conflict of 2022, elements which could be released soon on Amazon. For any contact or details, 00277-124-16140 or email address, grandmutamunane@gmail.com.